Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose, the number one health podcast in the world. Thanks to each and every single one of you who come back every single week to listen and learn. And I know that you're dedicated to expanding your mind, to being a change maker in your life and the lives of others. And I know that you want to get behind causes, missions, and values that can help you find your purpose. And you know that it's my promise to you to try and find guests that I can learn from every single week, ask questions that I'm burning to ask, and I know you're thinking about, and guests that really represent all of these things that we so need in the world. Today's guest is not going to disappoint at all. She's absolutely phenomenal. She's been using her platform for years as an activist to stand up for things she believes in, to make people's lives easier. And let me tell you exactly who she is. Give me a few moments. So here we go. She's a Golden Globe nominated and SAG award-winning actress, producer, director, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and known for her work on Desperate Housewives. Eva Longoria is the producer of the highest-rated summertime drama series to debut in 4 years, Grand Hotel. As an activist and philanthropist, Eva Longoria continuously uses her star power to shine her light on important causes close to her heart, creating opportunities for women and people of color through education and entrepreneurship, which I know is so important to so many of us. So here's something she said during an interview that I loved. She said, "I don't speak for the Latino community. I speak with and speak from that community." I absolutely love that, Eva. Eva, it's a joy to have you here. And we've just connected recently. Was that okay?
I was sweating as you were reading it because it's so, I don't know. It's so funny to hear your life. This is your life.
It is when you're humble and beautiful and amazing and doing so much wonder with it.
Thanks.
And it's all true. And I like doing those introductions for my audience because I think sometimes we see such a small snapshot of people.
Of who you think they are.
Of who we think they are.
The illusion. I call it the illusion.
Okay. Right. Yeah. You see a 3-minute interview with someone.
Yeah.
You see them on a billboard.
Yeah, on a red carpet.
And then you don't see the full picture. And I think this is what this is about.
I always say that. I'm like, they go, "Oh my gosh, so great to meet you." I'm like, well, this is the illusion of me. You're like the no makeup and the no 7 people behind the camera who took 4 hours to get me out the door. That's the...
Well, you share that a lot on social media.
I do.
See that. We see that.
I do. I pull the curtain back so people know sometimes that's not attainable. Like, because do you have 8 people at home pulling what you're going to wear and deciding, what you're going to do with your hair and makeup? And,
I do.
Yeah,
No.
I know. Yeah. Just so you guys know, Jay has a whole team behind this camera of hair and makeup.
I don't. I definitely don't. I'm the worst. I've never put on makeup for any podcast or anything. I'm like, but anyway.
But you don't have to. Look how handsome you are.
Well, you're very kind, but I could do with a bit of it. But no, I'm so grateful to have you here. Honestly, I'm so grateful. I was so happy when we connected. I've been a huge fan, admirer, and
I was
completely blown away by
I've been admiring you. I was telling someone, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know Jay." And then I go, "Oh my God, no, I don't." Until we met, and I was like, I feel like I know you.
Yeah. Well, you were just telling me, and I want to ask you a ton of questions today because I feel like the beautiful thing about you is you can speak about talent and art. You can speak about parenting. You speak about life. You can speak about activism. Like you've really are living such a whole life. And I know, but it's beautiful for me to observe, and I want to learn from you today. And my first question is just about, you were just telling me now that you've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of them have been around parenting especially. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what have you learned about yourself through Santiago, through parenting?
Gosh.
And I'm saying his name right.
Santiago, yeah. Santi.
Yeah. Santi, yeah.
Santi. Yeah. You do learn a lot about yourself when you have a child. Well, he's just starting to get to the responsive age. So like what people don't realize, sometimes you see, parents disciplining their kids so early and you're like, no, they don't have reason yet. They don't have judgment yet. So like that's all going to waste. And you want them to explore. You want them to fall down. You want them to touch things that they're not supposed to. You want them to learn. I didn't realize, I think what I learned, 2 things I learned was what a disciplinarian I am, just in the sense of like, okay, you're going to go to bed at this time and this is what he's going to eat. And this is like, and my husband's like the fun time guy. And I always thought like I'd be the fun time person. I just like, him having structure, and then him having freedom within that structure. But like bedtimes and nap times, I'm really like on top of it. And the other thing that surprised me was kind of like what you were talking about, which was my activism, my political activism, or my philanthropy got so much more intense, and that like things hurt me in a deeper way now. Like I just go, oh my God, I got to leave the world a better place. Even to do my tiny part, the anxiety that I have about that and the stakes for me are so much higher now. Like that's really like, I was like, oh, there's nothing surprising about motherhood. Like if you read all the books and information that's out there, it's out there. But like when it comes to like, oh gosh, wow, that surprised me of just how intense my work is getting now.
That's beautiful. I love that though. Just the fact that you recognize we all become so much more mindful and aware that our actions matter and the world, the way we leave it is going to matter for so many other generations. That's a beautiful lesson.
You know, the biggest lesson I think I've learned so far from many podcasts, it was mostly from How to Raise a Good Human, and I forget her name, but she always says, you gotta, which can be applied to everybody in your life, but she was talking about how to raise a child, was meet them where they're at, right? Like kids are at this point, so you gotta meet them where they are. Yes. You can't expect them to know more, be more, say more if they're not ready. They're not ready. They got to learn that. They got to evolve. They're little, not only kinesthetically, but like mentally, emotionally, physically, all of that. And I realized, oh my gosh, that's what people, like if you meet an asshole, you're like, ooh, okay, he's not where I'm at right now. So I'm going to have to figure out where he's at so we can communicate. Or if you meet a wonderful person, you can elevate yourself to meet them where they're at. And like, I was like, oh my God, it was like, that was a mind-blowing thing I learned with the parenting podcast.
Holding on to your dreams and achieving all your desires is a huge undertaking, but add debt to the picture and it becomes that much harder. I know you've experienced that. And my wish for all is to be debt-free because I know the harmful psychological effects it has on someone. So I'm happy to share that you can refinance your credit card balances and save with a credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream. You can get a rate as low as 5.95% APR with AutoPay. If you've shopped around, you know that's much lower than the average credit card interest rate of over 20% APR. You can get a loan from $5,000 to $100,000 with no fees, no application fees, no transaction fees, and no prepayment penalties. You can apply right from your phone. That's simply how easy it is, and that's how easy the application is. Lightstream believes that when you have good credit, you deserve a low rate and great service, and that's exactly what they deliver. You can apply now to get an additional interest rate discount. The only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/purpose. That's lightstream.com/purpose for an additional discount. Lightstream is lightstream.com/purpose. Subject to credit approval, rate includes 0.5% autopay discount. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/purpose for more information. The digital world we live in now makes selling online really, really easy. But getting orders out can be such an obstacle. Sending your product out can be time consuming, expensive, and there's just way too many options. I like to focus on things that keep me and my team more productive, and I'm sure you feel exactly the same way. So this is why ShipStation.com is so valuable to me and my whole team. My team always sends things out, and it's crucial to me that they get out quickly, easily, and cost effectively. We found that ShipStation.com is the most affordable way to manage and ship your orders. It doesn't matter what you're selling, ShipStation brings all your orders into one simple interface and an easily manageable from any device. ShipStation is the #1 choice of online sellers. You'll ship more in less time with the best rates available. Right now, On Purpose listeners can try ShipStation free for 60 days when you use the promo code PURPOSE. There's absolutely no risk. You can start your free trial without even entering your credit card information. Just visit ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in the code PURPOSE. And remember, that's ShipStation.com, then enter the promo code PURPOSE. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I just want to point out how amazing Eva is right now because she's been talking a lot and she's had to do voiceovers. She had an amazing movie out. Like
press junkets. I know. That's why I have this sexy voice, everybody.
not that you didn't already, but she's doing this even when she's got a strange voice. So we have to love her even more for that. Tell us about this. You know, you've said before that you literally were the black sheep of your family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now you look at where your life is. Tell us about like, A, did you ever see it happening? B, like what it felt like to start that way? Because I think so many listeners today may feel like the black sheep of their family.
Right. No, I really was. I've asked my parents many a times if I was adopted because I look like no one. I sound like no one. I don't even have the same illnesses that they all have this. I don't. Or I have this and they don't. Or like, I was like, Mom, you can tell me now. I'm an adult. But no, turns out I am my parents' child. But no, I was raised, you know, as the black sheep, literally the black sheep, because my sisters were blonde and very light skinned when they were born and like hazel eyes. They all have very, very, very light eyes. And when I was born with a full head of black hair. My eyes are nearly black and dark skin. I mean, they call me La Prieta Fea, which means ugly dark one in Spanish. God. Yeah. Wow. And as people are like, who called you that? I go, my mom, like my family, La Prieta Fea. And that was my entire life. People would walk up to my mom and go, your daughters are so beautiful. And who's this? And I'd be like, I'm the baby. And you know, my mom, I mean, I was spoiled with love. I mean, they loved me amazingly. So it's not like I did without, but it was amazing how people defined, I guess, beauty was, you know, this like, especially in any people of color community, the colorism, right? Like the lighter you are, the more opportunity you have for white passing, white privilege situations. And so I feel like because I wasn't quote unquote pretty like my sisters, I developed a sense of humor. And so I dealt with everything with like a sense of humor since I was 6, you know, and kind of carried that with me throughout life because I didn't blossom until college. Like it wasn't until college that I actually like, oh, people are noticing me. And oh, it was literally like a summer and I had my face changed, my hair changed. It was funny. I mean,
wow. Yeah. And do you think humor was a healing or a defense mechanism? Like
both.
Okay.
I think it originally started out as a defense mechanism. Like I'm going to criticize myself before you do. And then laughter was so healing. And to hear people laugh was healing to my heart. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be the clown then. And then I made a career of it.
No, but I love that because I think it's so important to transition our defense mechanisms into healing. Because sometimes, as you know, the defense mechanism can just become this way of processing it in the moment, but then you walk home with all of that baggage.
Yeah.
And it feels really heavy.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're healing, it's almost like, oh, actually, I realize that there are multiple ways that people can appreciate you and recognize you and you can serve and you can be significant.
Yeah. And I think once I became famous, I guess, is I became famous late. Like I was 30 years old when I became a household name and I already knew who I was by then.
Yes.
So I had a really strong center of who I was and I didn't let anybody dictate it, whether it was the tabloids or people or, you know, today it would be comments, but back then we didn't have Instagram. So that's how old I am. But, and so that helped me and I never defined my life by beauty. Up until that point, it was not up until that point until I got People's Most Beautiful and Most Beautiful List this and Sexy that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I just thought it was cool. I didn't go, oh, that's who I am now. And, you know, I think that made a big difference was that I was a little older when all those things started happening or when people actually tried to identify you only as beautiful. So now they go, well, you're obviously not smart or hardworking or anything else because you're beautiful. Yes. And you're like, no, you can be many things.
Yeah. And they're like, you can be only one thing. And, and I think that's amazing because what you're saying is because you'd had time to construct your identity as to who you truly were, then when people started to make your identity singular, you were able to actually look at that and be like, no, actually, I already know who I am.
Yeah.
And this is a part of it.
Yeah.
But this isn't all of it.
Yeah. You said it so much more eloquent than I
No,
did.
not at all. No, you made a beautiful point. I think it's amazing. I think that there's so much to be said for that because it's almost like we know that like until we decide how we feel about ourselves, everyone else's feelings are just going to take over. How did you, yeah, go on.
No,
you were going to say
you
something
go.
beautiful.
No, I wasn't. I really wasn't. Nothing that beautiful. But I was going to say, I'm kind of going through that again right now of finding my identity. Because I feel like that can change. You can evolve. Like I'm not who I was when I was 30. And now that I'm directing and producing more and I'm behind the camera, even conveying that to my teams, whether it's my agent or my publicist or my manager or the people that actually have to make my dreams come true or who help me facilitate my dream. Like I found myself lately being inarticulate about it. And so that's one thing I meditate on is clarity. Like I go, okay, I need clarity because usually my whole life I've been, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, this is the path I'm walking, here we go. And now I'm like, oh, okay. And being a mom changes that too. Like you have a different compass. Like you're handed a whole new compass. And it's like, here's north. This is north now. And you're like, oh, okay. It's not me.
God, yeah, I can imagine. But I'm so glad you shared that. Thank you for sharing that with us because I think it's so important for all of us to realize that that evolution doesn't stop and that we have to go through it again. But the fact is you've been through it before, so you have the familiarity to bring in. Right. And like you said, there's going to be new challenges. Yeah. But the first one you ever went to, I feel, and this is more one that I've seen is, at one point you were going to become a physical therapist. Yeah. And then where did acting come from? So tell us about like almost that first kind of
This is another funny story because I was in college. I was in my last year of college and I didn't have enough money to finish my senior year. So I was going to have to drop out. And my girlfriend was like, you should join the scholarship pageant. It wasn't a beauty pageant. It was a scholarship pageant. And I was like, oh, okay, what is that?
Yeah,
and what is that? And it's basically a beauty pageant. Okay. But you win a scholarship. And like first place was like scholarship, books, tuition, boarding, meal. It was like the whole shebang. Second place was like a little at. Third place was a little at. Fifth place was books and something else. And I said, oh my God, if I could just get fifth place, I think I can figure out how to pay for the rest. And so I entered the pageant. I remember calling my mom and I said, Mom, I need a dress because I'm going to be in this pageant. She goes, oh, honey, is that a good idea? Because she didn't think I was pretty enough.
Oh my God.
She really was like, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. You're going to be hurt. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it because of that. And because I was not doing it for that, I didn't really take it personally. I wasn't going to take it personally. And I was like, Mom, I'm just hoping to get fifth place, hopefully fourth, right? And I was doing like the statistics, like if I could just, there's 20 of us here, I just have to do better than 50 people. Anyway, turns out I win the whole thing. I won the whole thing. My sisters didn't believe me. They were like, was anybody else in the pageant? And I was like, guys, I'm pretty now. No, but it was, and so what happened was I was graduating with my kinesiology degree. And I'm still obsessed with exercise science and physiology and the body and fitness. And so I wanted to be a sports trainer. I wanted to work for like the Dallas Cowboys, or I wanted to work for like a really major team. And in the prize package was a trip to LA to go and compete in this talent competition. And I was like, oh, that'd be fun just to go to LA. I'd never been really outside of Texas. And so I graduate college, I come to LA, and I just go, I did this little competition and I got all these callbacks and people were interested and they were like, oh my God, you're great, you're amazing. And I was like, I don't even, what is this? Where am I? What is this? I also fell in love with LA. I remember arriving in LA and probably taking the best breath of my life. Like I went, like my world opened up outside of Texas. And not only outside of Texas, but like outside of Corpus Christi, Texas. And I just remember going, whoa, there's other things in the world, other people. It was the first time I'd seen a Jewish person on the street. Like I was like, oh, there's a person with a hat and oh my gosh. And it was the first time I saw an Indian person. Yeah. And I was like, that's another Mexican like me. And they're like, no, that's an Indian person. And I was like, oh my God, there's other people of color, I mean, it was so eye-opening just to be in LA. And I said, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay here.
Caseta by Lutron offers smart lighting control brought to you by the pioneers in smart home technology. Caseta's smart dimmers and switches replace the switch in your wall, making all of the lights that switch controls act smart. There's so many places in your home where a switch controls more than one bulb. Ceiling lights, chandeliers, and so many more. You can save money right now by replacing the switches instead of replacing all those bulbs. Smart bulbs give you the ability to control your lights with an app or voice assistant. Caseta gives you the best of both worlds. Smart lighting control from an app or your voice, and control at the switch that anyone can use. My favorite feature is the Smart Away feature, which randomly turns lights on and off during the evening to look like you're at home, even when you're not. It's so useful for privacy and your space. So get smart lighting the smart way with Caseta by Lutron smart switches. Learn more about Caseta at lutron.com/purpose. Again, that's lutron.com/purpose. Go be smart. Now, I'm not hugely into jewelry and accessories, but one thing I can always appreciate on someone else, and including myself, is a beautiful wristwatch. Now, we obviously don't need a watch to know the time of day. We've got a ton of devices for that. But to me, it's much more meaningful than just a tool. I've always believed you could tell a lot about a person by the type and style of watch they have. This is why it brings me joy to bring awareness to Vincero watches. I've been wearing the Chrono S Copper Slate nonstop, and they're amazing. I've gotten complimented every time I've had it on. I've caught strangers staring at it a couple of times, or maybe that was just me, but they're really just that good looking and eye-catching. Now, Vincero claims to be the best value in their industry, and I agree with them. You're not going to find a better made watch for this good of a price anywhere else. If you don't believe me, just head to Vincero's website and read one of the over 17,000 five-star reviews that they've received. Even if you could claim to not be a watch guy, Vincero has a style that will change your mind. I went ahead and picked my top 5 watches at Vincero. Go to vincerowatches.com/J to see my picks. And don't forget to use the code J for 15% off. This deal is really too good to pass up. Go to Vincero, Vincero, watches.com/J and use code J to get 15% off.
I'm going to be an actor. And I remember calling my mom. I didn't even go home. I didn't even pack enough clothes. I just said, Mom, I'm going to stay. And she goes, okay. Like my mom, my parents were totally happy because I got my degree. They were like, you know what, as long as you have your degree, of course you can get a job anywhere. And I was like, yeah, I'll get a job. And it literally was a left turn, and it was some guiding force. I really think about it now. I wouldn't do that today. I wouldn't get up and move my life. And I didn't know anybody. I had no money. No car, I knew nothing about an industry I wanted to be a part of. And I felt supported and guided by some sort of energy and presence. And I just thought, oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. It just felt completely right. And I was never one of those people who said, now I'll give myself 3 years. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going home. I was like, no, this is it. So it's going to take as long as it's going to take.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. How were you able to, when I'm listening to you, one thing that's really coming out for me is how were you able to separate the comments or judgment that you were receiving from your family, accept the love that you received from them, which you said beautifully. You said they always loved me and I felt that. And how were you able to see that comment and judgment as separate from that love? Because I find like so many people today, one of the biggest questions I get asked is just like, Jay, my parents don't believe in me, or like my friends don't believe in me, or they don't think it's possible for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes what that does is it blocks the love too.
Oh,
right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like we also don't see the love. So how were you I'm just intrigued.
I don't know.
How were you able to, and I'd love for you to think about it, because I think it's fascinating, because when I hear you talk about it, there's no bitterness. There's no resentment. There's no there's none of that.
I think I have blinders on when it comes to my goals and there's nothing you could say that deterred me from my goal. And by the way, that's like the 6-year-old Eva, that's 20-year-old Eva, that's 44-year-old Eva. Like, you can tell me this is a really bad idea. Like, here are the risks, here's the pros, here's the cons, and I would still do what I want to do. So I don't know if you're born with that. Yeah. And I didn't see their judgment as negative. I thought they were being silly and funny and making fun of me, and that comes from love, right? Like, there's so much. You only mess with the people you love the most. Like, that's who you can really joke with. Yeah. And that's how I read it from my family. They were like, you really? You're going to be in a pageant? Really? You won? Okay. Okay. And I was like, I have a picture. I have a picture to prove it. And I didn't invite any of my family to the pageant. So they kind of didn't believe that it happened because I didn't invite anybody. They were like,
brilliant.
okay, I think that happened in Eva's head. Anyway.
So they don't know till this day whether it actually happened. Well, no, you paid for college.
I was in college and I had pictures.
Yeah.
That you remember you had to develop them back then. You had to
love
develop the pictures.
How much fun are you having with Grand Hotel right now?
It's fun. It's so fun. You know, we've wrapped so long ago, so I'm a little removed for it. But what I was doing was when I was directing Grand Hotel, first we shot the pilot Grand Hotel and I was 8 months pregnant and we shot in Miami and I was running around and I was like, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this. And that was so much fun because I felt like I had two babies. I had, Santi in my stomach and this pilot that we were hoping would get picked up by ABC. And then we get picked up and Santi's born and I'm directing the first one and I'm breastfeeding. Santi's 7 weeks old. I'm getting 3 hours of sleep. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't even know how I'm going to do this. And I would just breastfeed him on set. I have 1,000 videos of me saying, and action. And I'm breastfeeding, so many pictures. And I'm like, here we go. I mean, we're going to do it. So I view Grand Hotel as, a parallel universe with Santi because they just happened at the same time. And they were both so hard to get off the ground, Santi and Grand Hotel.
At the same time.
And so, I think Grand Hotel is one of the most special projects. That one and Dora, because the same thing, Dora, I was shooting Dora when Santi was tiny. And so those two projects will always be so special to me because they're encompassed in Santi.
Yeah. But this seems like a theme in your life. Like you never do the easy route.
No, I know.
Yeah, you never do like the one thing. Like most people are like, if you're gonna have a kid 1 year, like just have a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, I hear that. We don't have kids yet, but
I know.
we hear that all the time. But like you were, you said Dora. Yeah, Dora, of course. Congratulations. By the way.
Thank you.
It's been amazing seeing everyone. So Dora, you've got Grand Hotel and you're having Santi, right? At the same time. Mm-hmm. And then when you were trying to become an actress, you're also headhunting at the time.
Oh my gosh.
As well? Like
yes.
you're doing that and you're juggling at the same time.
Let me tell you where all of that comes from. And I'll tell you the headhunting story. But like my mom raised 4 girls. One with special needs. My oldest sister is mentally disabled. Worked a full-time job. She became a special education teacher. Took care of our family, took care of her sister who, was also, both of her sisters were older. And so like, she was just a caretaker for the whole family and had dinner on the table every day at 6:00 that she made from scratch. So I always look at my mom as like, how did she do that? We went to 4 different schools. She was a human taxi. She'd drop one up, pick one up, I was in cheerleading. My sister was in band. My other sister was in flag corps. Lisa's getting her therapies. And she I don't remember a day my mom was sick. I don't remember her getting a cold, a flu, a cough, a sneezed. She just did it and she endured and she didn't only like survive, she thrived. Like she was like, did it. And so I look at my life and I go, oh my God, I'm not doing enough like my mom did. Like my mom did way more and did it happily and with a smile. And that's where I think the work ethic comes from. But when I moved to Hollywood, I was like, I had my degree and I was like, I'm not going to wait tables. Not that anything's wrong with that, but I was just like, I have a degree. So I went to a temp agency to get a temp job because I was like, I'm an actor. I'm an actor. I can't really work too much. And they hired me and they were like, oh, you should work here. And I was like, oh, what's here? And they said, oh, it's, matchmaking. There's jobs and people and you put them together. And I was like, oh, okay. So.
Not people and people matchmaking.
Yeah, no, not people. Jobs and people. And I was good at it. I mean, I was just like, this is like my calling. And I was doing so well that I paid off my college debt, my student debt, my credit card debt, my student debt. I got a car. I had an apartment. I got my headshots. I took acting classes. Like it really, it was like a dream job for me because it still allowed me to pursue acting and financially support that dream. And I remember the first big break I got was on Young and the Restless. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got this part. And it was paying 1/10 of what I was making as a headhunter. I was like, oh, I can't live on that. Like that, I have now all of these things I have to pay for. So I continued to be a headhunter while I was on Young and the Restless for 3 years, by the way.
Wow.
The whole time I was on Young and the Restless, I had to keep my other job because they didn't pay me enough. And I did it out of my dressing room. So I'd be on the phone and I'd be like, yes, I'm negotiating this salary. And then they're like, ready on set. And I'm like, okay, I have to run. I have another meeting.
And you're learning lines too at the same time.
Learning lines, getting hair and makeup, doing publicity. Like it was fun. I'm, when you're young like that, you have all the energy in the world. And I remember,
You still do.
yeah,
Yeah, you're still doing it all.
But now I get 8 hours of sleep though. Like I actually budget it. Back then I could roll out of bed from the club and be like, here we go, let's go.
Yeah.
Now that cannot. If I drink
I'm
today,
like that already.
yeah, it's like 4 days later I'll recover from drinking.
100%. Oh, I love that. No, it's so true. So true. And you've reminded me of my mom too. Like when you were speaking about your mother, I feel exactly the same way. You know, my mother was always there, but running her own business, growing up, when I was growing up, taking care of me and my sister, every sporting activity or art activity or whatever it was, always supportive, helping with homework.
Yes, my mom too. Homework.
Yeah, homework, like helping with school, like and yeah, she did it so like effortlessly almost. It felt that way.
Well, it felt like that to us.
To us, yes. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but she made it feel like that. She never made it feel like a burden or never made it feel like it was our fault or whatever it was.
Right.
And I can relate to that. But you have this real ability and it's your superpower. Like you're able to continuously, we just talked about headhunting and acting, like making both happen at the same time.
Yeah.
You're talking about even then with Desperate Housewives and doing a master's degree.
Yeah, I got my master's during Desperate Housewives, which I,
Like,
again,
come on, like-
looking back, I'm like, not so much a good idea because getting your master's is all encompassing in mentally. Like you have to really dive deep into the purpose of that. Like, why are you doing this? And I was, I come from a family of educators. So like all my sisters went to college, my mom, my aunts were teachers. Like, so I was the last person in my family to get a master's degree. Like that's crazy, like how many families can say that? And I knew I was very blessed with the idea that education was important and also hearing the word university in my household. So many kids today don't even hear that word in their household. So I was really lucky. So it was something harping at me because I was supposed to always get my master's and then I took a left turn and went to Hollywood. And then as I was on set, Desperate, it was the #1 show in the world. And my mom was like, right. But when are you going to get your master's? Like she was like,
Even then. Wow,
yeah. I'm like, mom, we're like #1 in China right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what that means? She's like, yeah, doesn't mean anything. And also what was happening, which was ironic because it's still happening, was this border issue, this immigration issue. And it was such a hot topic in that moment and continues to be that I wanted to dive deeper into the history of immigration of our country because I hate misinformation. I don't like misinformation. It's one thing my grandma taught me. You never hate something. She's like, don't say that word. I would be like, I hate orange juice. She goes, you cannot hate orange juice. You cannot like orange juice, but you do not hate anything. I know. That's why when I hear it, I'm like, that's the one word, like no curse word. You can curse all you want, but when somebody goes, I hate milk or what, I hate anything. And I'm like, oh, don't say that word. So anyway, I don't like the amount of misinformation in the world. So I was like, you know what? I don't even know this information. Let me go get it. And so I took one class about Chicano 101, which was, Chicano's a politicized word in the civil rights movement, in the Chicano civil rights movement, that really is about the Mexican-American journey in the United States. And so the history, because many of us didn't cross the border crossed us. And so we are rooted in this country, in this tierra, in this world, in this earth, in this whatever, border that is put up, we're still part of this land. And so, understanding that history, and I took one class, and then I took another class, and then I took a third class, and finally the university was like, you have to enroll eventually. And I was like, okay. So then I enrolled, but like I didn't think about it other than I just want to take more classes. I want to learn, and I was devouring it. But once you enroll, there is a timeline. You have to finish, and you have to take these certain classes by a certain time, and then you have to do your thesis, and then your thesis has to be argued. And then I was like, what did I do? And I never told anybody I was doing it, by the way. And it got out that I was doing it. And that put more pressure on me to finish, because I was like, even if I don't finish, at least I took more classes. And once it got out to the press and people kept talking about like, that's so great. That's so great. Our community needs you. I was like, now I have to finish. Wow. And so that's why I got my master's and then ended up writing my thesis, which is the basis of my foundation, which is my life's work. And so I remember I had a great mentor at the time, Henry Cisneros, and there's 20 people like in your cohort, in your class, and 19 of them were doing immigration theses, like from different points of view, the different entry points, everything, anything you can think of. And I was like, yeah, I want to do my thesis on immigration. And my mentor goes, but is that going to be your life's work? Like, what is going to be your life's work? Your thesis and your master's is diving deep into one thing. And things can branch off of that, like, because, social issues are all connected. But he's like, but what are you going to be an expert at? And I said, I really am interested in education because my family comes from educators, and I want to help more Latinos attain higher education, even finish high school, right? Like finish high school and then be able to go further. And so he's like, that's what your thesis needs to be on. So if it's education, what about education? Who do you want to help? And I said, well, I want to help women. I know that, young girls. He goes, great. And where do you want to help? Like he made me drill down specifically but how are you going to help and why are you going to help? And so I said, well, I feel like there's not enough Latinas in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math. And when we don't have a seat at the table with these industries, innovation doesn't service our communities.
Correct.
So I was like, okay, let me help facilitate that. So my thesis was specifically on Latinas in STEM fields and how diversity creates innovation for anything, whether you're a researcher or a teacher, whatever, or a scientist or an engineer. I mean, solutions come from people's experiences. Mm-hmm. And so we need more experiences to innovate world problems, to solve world problems.
Yeah. What an amazing mentor.
I know.
Like
he's
being
amazing.
able to just really push you there rather than just, that's great.
Yeah, but everybody's doing immigration.
Yeah. Wow.
And
good for you.
So that's why I did that. I know I never do things easy.
I know.
But
it's beautiful. We need you. We need the strength and the toughness. I think what it shows me is just what it shows me and shows so many people today. I think so many of us get lost in the excuse of like, well, I can't chase my passion if I'm doing this, or I can't do this if it's meaningful to me because I have a day job, or I can't, and I'm not saying that everyone should do everything, but what I am saying is that you're showing us through your own behavior and action and choices that if you put your mind to it, you can do multiple things that are actually very different.
Yeah. I think also what we don't realize is we waste more time in the day than you realize.
Yes.
Right. And so like I'm sometimes on Instagram, but I really look at the screen time and I give myself like, this is the time, Eva, you can look at Instagram. Like my entire day is mapped out because I'm just an efficient person. If I'm in the car, I'm doing a conference call or I'm listening to a podcast. If I'm on a plane, I'm reading a script, I'm reading a book, I'm watching a TV show that I have to watch for research. Like if I'm, bathing Santi, I am FaceTiming with grandma because grandma's this is your time, grandma, with Santi. It's just like, what can I do? And I remember also when I was on Desperate Housewives, I learned French and it was
Come on,
I did learn. I learned French and Spanish because I didn't grow up speaking Spanish, but French was my first, my second language, and then my third language was Spanish. But through these tapes, and so if I was working out, I was listening to the tapes. If I was driving, I was listening to these tapes, and then I would go to class and I would buy the books and for French. And I remember my castmate going, "I can't believe." When we finished Housewives, she goes, "You've learned 2 languages and got a master's degree." She goes, she's like, and I just endured. But because there was so much downtime on set, there was so much, I was in my trailer for an hour and I felt like I wasn't reaching my full potential as a human being. Like I was having fun on the show, don't get me wrong. And I was really grateful for I'm on this amazing show and I took acting very seriously, but there's so much downtime and off days that I was like, I got to fill this with something else.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that. I love that. Now, all of us, everyone listening and watching, me included, I'm like, no excuses.
There's more You
There's
waste more time than you think. And like I said, I also schedule my sleep. So like I go to the gym at 6 a.m. So I have to be in bed by 10. If I'm in bed by 10, that means dinner's at 7. If I have a dinner, and I just like schedule things like that. And by the way, there's monkey wrenches. Like, all right, this dinner went late. I'm going to be tired tomorrow. But it's not my lifestyle. You know what I mean?
I get it. It's the exception, not the rule.
It's the exception of the rule. Or when people go, I don't have time to work out. I was like, yeah, you actually do. You probably do.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it, that we need rules to have exceptions from.
Yes.
Otherwise, everything's the exception,
Yeah.
right? Like otherwise, everything's all over the place and there's no rules. I couldn't agree with you more. Tell me about how you've seen the Latino experience in Hollywood. Like for someone who's not familiar with that, what is that like? If you want to go there.
No, it's a big topic. There was a study that just came out yesterday from USC, Stacy Smith at USC, talking about not only are we severely underrepresented in Hollywood, but the erasure of Latinos in film is creating the problems we're having in society.
Interesting.
Like it definitely is correlated. If you only see gangbangers, drug dealers, criminals in TV and film, then that educates a community about who we are. It educates people who don't have a Latino in their town to go, oh, that's what they are. And I think more important than that is it educates our community on who we are. And so if I'm a young Latino and only see those portrayals, it's damaging. And so you can't be what you can't see. And I think that there has to be conscious change to happen. So I feel like sometimes people go, well, this is an unconscious bias. Like people just go to the well they always go to, white male talent. And so who's left out of that is women, people of color, LGBTQA. I mean, all of this. And so you have to understand there's different talent pools awaiting usage. And so hopefully I think we're facing the right direction now. I don't know if we've taken a step.
Right. But you at least feel that.
Yeah, we're like this. And now we're like, oh, okay, there it is. Let's go,
Yes.
And then, same thing happened, going back to Grand Hotel, when I was finally in a position of power to hire as a producer, as an executive producer and a director, it was our job to staff up the director slot. So we had 13 open slots. And what we did was primarily hire women first. Let's fill the slots with women. And once we ran out of that talent pool, we said, great. Now the rest of the slots, people of color. Great. And then once those filled up, then the remaining slots were your usual white male directors. And we did that purposely. And so the same thing with director of photography. I took these traditional jobs. I looked at these jobs that were traditionally held by men and I asked for women. Like I was just like, director of photography, cinematographers, mostly male. And I said, are there any women? And they go, oh, yeah. And then they sent me some female names. I ended up hiring a female director of photography, Allison Kelly. And she ends up hiring women in her department, right? Wow. So then it like trickles down. Then we hired 2 female assistant directors and they end up hiring female PAs, and it just, there's a great trickle down effect. There was, we needed a stunt coordinator because we had a big stunt to do. And they're like, here's Tom, Dick, and Harry. And I was like, right, are there any female stunt coordinators? Like, there must be female stunt coordinators. They go, oh yeah, there are. And of course they send me the names and I go, great, her, Helena. So we had a female stunt coordinator. Like we really filled these non-traditional roles, jobs that are held by men with women, and it works. Right? And they're just as talented and they're just as creative. So it's the same with Latinos in Hollywood. So instead of unconsciously ignoring us, you should consciously hire us, right? In front of and behind the camera.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's amazing. I think it's so amazing to see how intentional and focused and strategic you've been about representation mattering.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, it feels like if you don't do that, then it kind of just doesn't happen. It won't, yeah. Because it's like,
if I'm not doing
if you don't take it an intentional approach.
Why would, John Smith do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, this is my community. I should be doing it. And like you said, I don't do it to be a hero. I do it because I don't, like you said when you opened the podcast, you have to be very careful about speaking for people. I speak for women. I speak for, it's like, no. I don't speak for Latinos. What I do is teach and inspire them to speak up for themselves. And the way we can do that in Hollywood is by hiring them, whether you're a storyteller or a grip or a lighting person or an actor or a writer. You tell that story. You tell your story. So I'm not, trying to go, oh, well, listen to me. This is what we got to do. It's, no, go do what you want to do and you can do it.
Yeah.
I give you permission, right? Like sometimes people just want permission to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. Was it hard for you to transfer over from being an actor to then production and direction? Or have you enjoyed that and loved that?
No, because I'm very bossy. I like telling people what to do.
I can tell when no one saw it, but before this podcast started, I thought I was about to get schooled. I was getting all sorts of direction. I was like,
I'm like, I'm going to sit there. You sit there. I'm going to have the better light. No.
I love it. Literally.
No, it was, I feel like, people go, oh, she's an actor turned director. I feel like I was always a director, producer turned actor because I've been fascinated by the business side and the assembly of a project. And also, again, I remember being on set in Desperate Housewives and going to my mark and saying my lines, and then you go home. You don't get to pick your co-star. You don't get to write the things that are coming out of your mouth. You don't get to pick the music that's going to lay over this. You don't get to pick what you're wearing. You don't get actors have the least amount of control in the whole process of filmmaking and movie making and TV making. And so I just go, I want to have more control of my destiny, of my career, and of the final product that is being put out there. And that's why I chose to get behind the camera, because I was like, no, I want to make the decisions.
I think that's so important. No, I think it's great. I think we should celebrate that. I think it's awesome. And I couldn't agree with you more. Like, I think for so much talent to continue saying the words that they haven't written and to be, like what you're saying, defining an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to define my own experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And experience of the viewers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can relate a lot to that. I'm planning my tour at the moment for me to go and visit all the cities in which I have a wonderful community and go meet everyone. And for me, it's very much about defining an experience. I was like, I don't just want to stand on a stage and speak on any stage. It's like, I want to design an experience so that people know that they've come to a place that embodies everything that I believe in and value.
Well, and speaking of this podcast, like On Purpose. So I remember one of the things I learned from Oprah, and I'm not name dropping because I didn't meet her. I just saying from her show. There she is.
There she is. Yeah.
Was when she used to do her daily show, I was like, how do they fill up 365 days a year of booking people and booking, talk psychologists, whatever, picking the themes and picking the topic of the show. And she said, I produce with purpose. So every show has to deliver something. Why am I producing this particular episode? Yes. And I have carried that with me in everything that I do. Like, what is the point? And so I'll get pitched things of like, oh, it's like Empire, but Latino. And I go, right, okay, and then what?
Yeah.
Great. Like, I've turned down so many things that I go, people are going to watch that. I just don't know what the point is. Like, what's the purpose?
And for you. Yeah.
For me. Exactly. It might service something in your life, but it's not servicing my goals of whatever that is. Right. Yeah. And so, producing with purpose has been the mantra of my production company. And that's probably why I produce so many documentaries, is because humanizing social issues is the best way to educate somebody about it. And so my agents, to my agents, a grin, because they were just like, documentaries don't make movies, don't make money, Eva. Stop making documentaries. They make no money. And I'm like, but that's not my purpose.
Yeah.
If that was my purpose, I wouldn't do them. But my purpose for the documentaries is a different point.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's so important. That applies to everything, like not just movies or shows. It's like, you could apply that to everything in our lives. Like, why are we sitting down with anyone, or every meeting or friend we allow into our space, or just really reflecting, going, what is the purpose of this interaction, conversation, deal, whatever it may be.
Yeah, totally.
And being able to do that. And anyone who's listening and watching, I highly encourage you to do that with your work, with your relationships, with every area. Yeah. And if you can't answer the question, then you can look for an answer. And if you can't find the answer, then that is your answer.
And I think, like I'm doing now in my life is taking an emotional inventory and going, okay, what's this servicing? Nothing. Out, you know?
Yes.
Okay, what is it? Like just doing the spring cleaning of your emotions. And so I always love that, you know, idea of like, oh, let's take an emotional inventory. My husband and I will do it together. Like, where are we at? What are we doing? Okay, here we go. All right, this is wasting our time and not really fulfilling us in any way. So out, not doing that anymore. Even with like, you know, silly things like not only projects and people, you know, whether it's property, like we had this house in Miami, we're like, we don't go. Why do we have that? Like, and you don't realize it because sometimes there's a different part of your life that is about attainment. I'm gonna attain as much as I can, whether it's money, whether it's houses, whether it's cars, whether little. And lately, my husband and I have just looked at our life and go, whoa, what is the purpose of this many things?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. And I think that's important to do from time to time.
Yeah, I agree. Before I became a monk, I did that in a tiny way because I gave away a lot of my best clothes to my friends who wanted them. So I gave away all these like football jerseys or soccer jerseys that that I'd collected. I love soccer. So I had all these jerseys and I was giving them away. And then when I came back from being a monk, I was like, I might take that back.
I did that recently with, I never thought I'd lose the pregnancy weight because I got so big that I just resigned myself to like, well, this is the new normal. And I gave away so many clothes. I was like, jeans, out, tight, anything tight, out, out, out. And now I did lose the weight. And I'm like, can I have that dress back?
And you can't. No, I don't know if your friends give. My friends never give me my stuff.
No, and I'll see my friend wearing it and I go, I love that dress. And she goes, you gave it to me. And I go, oh, okay.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I auctioned off this soccer ball that was signed by all the players of Manchester United. And I auctioned it off for charity before I became a monk to give it away.
Is that your team?
Yeah, that's my team. Yeah.
Is that what David played?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like,
so what's the opposite of
Manchester City?
Okay.
We don't like them. Yeah.
So no, because did you see the prank that James Gordon did on him? And the guy's like, hey, you in Manchester City, man. And David was like, no, you got the team wrong. He's
that's
like,
when when they made that statue of him. Yeah. Oh my God. That statue was hilarious.
But the funniest thing was like, you gotta keep confusing the teams.
Yeah, that was so bad. Yeah, Manchester City is like Manchester United's arch enemy, and now they're really good. So.
Oh, are they good?
Yeah, they're good now. So
where did Thierry Henry play? Arsenal.
Arsenal, yes. Yeah. Thierry Henry was at Arsenal and then Barcelona.
Where does Zidane play?
He played. Well, now he's the manager of Real Madrid, and he's played at Real Madrid. He also played at Juventus. I believe he also played at Barcelona. So.
He played at Juventus.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. It's a funny story. This is probably you can edit this out, but I got this invitation to host the FIFA Awards in Zurich.
No way.
So I'm in bed and I'm reading this and I go, FIFA. Honey, they want me to host some FIFA thing. And he goes, what? And I go, the awards, I don't know all these people. And he goes, you have to do it. Because my husband's a huge soccer fan. He's like, we have to go. It'll be so amazing. I was like, all right. So I said yes. And I had to interview all these players. I had to interview Maradona. I had to interview Ronaldo. I had to interview all these players. And I didn't know who any of them were. Messi.
Thanks, Eva. Thanks, right now,
Messi.
I'm really in love with you right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then
I can't believe it.
Last minute, my husband couldn't go. And I had to go by myself. I go, well, I don't want to go. Like, I didn't want to go to the thing in the first place. You're the one that made me say yes. And now you're not coming. Last minute, he could not go. He had a business. God. So I'm there going, honey, okay, so Messi is from Spain. And he goes, no, he is not from Spain. And if you say that, they're going to throw a rock at you. And I was like, but I thought you said he played in Spain. He goes, no, he plays in Spain, but he's not from Spain. They're very serious about it. And I was like, all right, so Maradona's from Spain. No, he's not from Spain. And I was like, he made me a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, that's good.
So I could interview them. And I was like,
we love it. That's useful.
And then I was like, oh, when Ronaldo, Cristiano, what's his name?
Yeah, Cristiano.
Because isn't there two of them? Ronaldinho.
There's the Brazilian Ronaldo.
Okay.
And there's Ronaldinho.
Okay.
And then there's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh God. So I was like, Cristiano's from Brazil, right? And he goes, no. And I go, he speaks Portuguese. And he goes, hey, he's from Portugal. I was like, oh my God, this is too confusing. Confusing. Anyway, I ended up doing it, but not happy about it.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool.
Not happy about it.
Not
you would
jealous,
have loved it.
Not jealous at all. Yeah.
You would have loved it.
No, I love that.
Yes.
Do you want us to keep that in? I loved it. It was great. But where were we?
Nobody cares.
I think the awesome thing is that No, there's no lesson in that. That's
There's
just
no lesson in
there's
that.
no
That's
lesson
just
in that.
you being a
There
fanboy.
was no lesson in that. That was me just being very excited that I know.
I'm surprised you call it soccer.
I do when I'm here. Just so everyone knows what I'm talking about. Because if I say I can't call it real football, then everyone gets upset.
I know. But have you been to the Los Angeles?
I have. I've been to watch LAFC.
So good.
I've been to the LA Galaxy Stadium.
What's the difference, by the way?
So there's LAFC and LA Galaxy. They're the two teams in LA.
Oh, they're both MLS?
They're both MLS.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. They're both, yeah.
I mean, why would I know that?
Yeah, why would you know that? You don't know Cristiano Ronaldo.
I just love the food at the LAFC.
Okay.
Yeah, great
I was
stadium.
secretly hoping you were a football fan, but I guess.
I'm a football fan.
Oh, yeah.
American football.
American football, yeah.
I am a huge NFL fan. Yeah, I love the NFL.
Awesome.
Do you not like it?
I'm interested in people in the NFL, like players. I'm fascinated by people, but I just didn't grow up on it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I watch it, but I didn't grow. I think when you grow up on something.
Oh yeah, and I'm from Texas, so Texas is a football state.
I think
so
that's
it's
what it
like
is. When you grow up on something,
culture.
it has a huge. So I even watched a lot of basketball growing up. So I love basketball. Yeah, I absolutely love basketball. But football, soccer is my main sport. But anyway,
All right.
now, I was going to ask you with Santi. What is there? I asked you earlier what you'd learned from him, and since having him, what are you trying to teach, and what would you like him to take on?
What
are the most important things?
Yeah,
and how you're doing it.
I read a book when I was pregnant. It's amazing how this, you should write a book about this because there's not a lot of books on it because I was looking for it. But I wanted to, when I was pregnant, I wanted to know what was spiritually happening. So there's so many books of like, today he has fingernails. This week his brain is developing. Eat a lot of salmon. This month, this is happening. And I was like, what is spiritually happening in my belly? And my friend Deepak, Deepak gave me his book and he said, read this book. And it was The Spirituality and Miracle of Pregnancy. And it was basically that of like, even in the book, he said, don't watch anything that upsets you, even if it's fake, like a scary movie or something. Cause he's like, the baby doesn't know that feeling is manufactured. You just go, you get scared or whatever. And, same thing with like trying not to be stressed or anything, just how everything channels into the baby and all of that stuff. But there was literally one, it was like his book and that was it. And I said, no, there has to be more. Like, does the heart create before the mind? I mean, the brain, like physically. So that's why like we do lead with our heart. Like I wanted to know so many of those answers.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so in the book, he said, every night when you rub your cream on or whatever, do a mantra with what you wish for your child. And my wish for him was kindness and compassion. Like,
that's beautiful.
Please let him be. I mean, health, of course. Like that was like a given. I was like, okay, I hope he's healthy. But the thing I want to impart most on him is to be, I hope he's a kind and compassionate human being,
That's beautiful.
and mindful. I think a lot of things hang off the tree of mindfulness. So, sometimes you can have a gullible, compassionate person, but if you're mindful, I feel like there's a level of compassion and intelligence to be deciphering good situations, bad situations, what takes your time, what shouldn't take your time. And so mindfulness was a big one.
Yeah, those are beautiful. I love that. And it's so true. Yeah, the Vedic terms, and I know Deepak well as well. He's a good friend. Some scaras that children have are all the way from conception through to as they get older. And so the qualities and the values we want them to embody and meditating on those and then the qualities when they come in. So I think that's beautiful. What a beautiful meditation to it. And I love what you said there. It's not just about being kind and compassionate and gullible, but being focused, intentional, mindful, being able to process that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a very big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And one thing I read about you, which I thought was unbelievable, which I have to say, and you're going to hate me for saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I haven't.
Is Hollywood Reporter named you the Philanthropist of the Year, which I thought was amazing. I mean, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
To have come here, to have paved your own path, to have worked so hard, and for this space and community and world to recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have felt incredible.
No, it was amazing.
And at the same time, giving you an opportunity to use that platform to do more incredible work. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So much. That meant a lot to me because, I grew up with a special needs sister. So my oldest sister, Lisa, has a mental disability. She was born at like 7 months, so didn't get enough oxygen to her brain. So she has like about a third grade level for her life, like, her reading, her comprehension. And so because of that, I was born into her world. And when we were young, we would use so many community services, whether it was Boys and Girls Club or Salvation Army. We would always go Special Olympics. There were so many organizations that helped my sister and our family that I never forgot. Like, I was like, who are these people helping us? They don't even know us. And my mom would always say, charity. And I thought charity was a person. Like, I was like, charity's so nice. And we used to have to volunteer. That was the greatest lesson I think my mom taught us very early, was volunteerism.
Yeah.
And so she was like, we're going to go volunteer at the soup kitchen. We're going to volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. We're going to volunteer at Special Olympics. And I thought it was a job. Like, I was like, I want to be a volunteer when I grow up. And
how beautiful.
Yeah, it was, because my earliest childhood memories all revolve around Special Olympics, because my sister was in it. So we had to go and volunteer, because my mom was like, we're all going, let's go, get in the car. You're volunteering. Lisa's competing. And I remember my first job was a hugger. Like, that's a job at the Special Olympics. And you hug the athletes at the end of their race, at the end of their competition. And the healing of that gesture of a hug to a stranger was really something that has stuck with me. And I remember I must have been maybe 5. Like, the fact that I remember that, and I always wanted to go back and be a hugger. So just that lesson of like giving back, volunteering, community was ingrained in the DNA of who me and all my sisters are. So regardless of being famous, I knew that was my destiny and my role and my responsibility. And then the fact that I became famous and had this platform to talk about and shine a light and give a voice and all of that stuff was really just a natural evolution, because I was doing it anyway.
Yes.
So I was really grateful for the microphone that I ended up receiving, so I could do more of what I was already doing, what my family has always been doing. And so, people a lot of times want to go, no, like, what got you philanthropic? I'm like, oh God, no, that's since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I do, I manifest a lot of things. And I remember moving here in 1998 and walking in Hollywood Boulevard. I wanted to live in Hollywood because when I wrote home, I wanted the address on the envelope to say Hollywood, California. Yeah. Not knowing Hollywood was like really ghetto-y at that time. Now it's like chic.
Not sure. Yeah.
But I was walking to Hollywood Boulevard and I was looking at all the stars on the Walk of Fame. And I said, one day I'm going to have a star here. I'm going to have a star. And I picked the spot and I said, it's going to be right here. And this is an empty one. It's going to be right here. And 20 years to the day, I got my star on the Walk of Fame, probably 5 feet from where I said that to the universe.
You don't get to pick.
No, you don't get to pick.
Yeah, you don't get to pick.
You don't get to pick. They go.
And it was 5 feet away from that
place.
It was
5 feet away
is insane.
From where I stood on the corner of La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard. And I was like, it's going to be right here. And mine's like 5 feet from where I said. Yeah. And so that's something I believe in. But it's also more than that. Like, people go, I'm going to be a star. Okay, well, you got to put the work in.
Yeah, and we've talked about that. Let's not
get the work in.
Yeah, you've done that. Yeah.
But just first visualizing it, saying it is really the 2 biggest steps. Yeah. And I think for women too, there's not a lot of female directors. There's not a lot of females behind the camera like there should be. And a lot of that is because, we don't want to even say it out loud because I might be full of myself, but I should be a writer. Yeah. I should be a director. I should say it. Yeah. Say it, do it, give yourself permission, because that's the first step. Then you go into your plan of how to accomplish it. But the first step is just, verbalize it, visualize it, and then say it.
Yeah. Visualize, verbalize. And I always feel like you have to feel it and mean it when you say it. Like, if you're going to believe it, you have to feel it and mean it for sure, because that's what I think the difference is in what you're saying of like, it's going to happen for me. And like, it's whereas like, no, this is it. But, and then following it up. And I think that's what I love about manifestation is that the visualization and verbalizing, but then also backing it up with focused action.
Right. Yeah. Focused action. And, I always say like curate your day, right? So like, does what I'm doing today lead to that goal?
Yes.
And there's so much you do in the day that is not leading to what you are trying to manifest. And so all of that energy is being burnt up towards something that you don't even want.
Yeah.
And that's why some people wake up in marriages that they never wanted and jobs they never wanted. They're like, what happened? Because you were putting so much energy into this thing and instead of the other.
Yeah. And that's why I think our intention's such a strong compass as well, because if you're not doing it for a deep reason, you can get there and actually feel disappointed.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it for a deep reason, you'll get there and realize there's so much more to do and you keep going. But otherwise, most people, if you don't have a deep intention, you may never get there. And so then you still keep thinking, oh, there was something there.
Yeah.
Or you get there and then you're disappointed. And we see that a lot where people get the name and the fame and the money and the star and everything, but then you still feel like, oh, well, it didn't add up.
Yeah, because it wasn't what your intention was.
It wasn't driven by anything else.
But the other thing I learned about intention, which was like another aha moment for me, was your actions have to match your intentions.
Yes.
Right? So, people go, oh, I didn't intend to hurt you.
Yes.
That wasn't my intention to hurt your feelings. But your actions did hurt me. So your actions have to match your intention. And I really use that as another mantra to go, well, my intention is to do this. What action do I have to do towards that?
Correct. Absolutely. I love that. Eva, you're amazing. You are awesome. Thank you for doing this with a sore throat, with having done so much press. You have to do Colbert tonight, you were saying.
Conan,
sorry. I'll take
Conan.
that. Let's re-edit that. Let's get that right. You're doing Conan tonight as well, which is just insane. So thank you for being here. We end every interview with what I call the final five. This is the final five rapid fire, quick fire round. So you can only answer in one word or one sentence.
One word or one sentence.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay, go.
Ready? Okay, so here we go. Number one of your favorite moments on set. You can answer in a sentence.
On set?
Yeah, one of your favorite moments of all time. I know it's a hard question.
Oh gosh, I've had so many great moments. Okay, hold on, let me think.
Yeah. We're not going to call the directors or the producers.
I know. I think, wow, God, that's a story. It's definitely Desperate Housewives, the day after our premiere.
Okay.
In 2004.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I remember watching it. I can't believe it. 2004. Wow.
I'll never forget the day. Because it was the producers called and they go, we're a hit. And I go, okay. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome.
I did not know what change was in store for my life.
Great story.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Second question. What do you love most about Santi?
His soul. His soul. He has a really pure soul.
Love that. Question number 3. The movie you've rewatched the most. It doesn't have to be one of yours.
Oh, definitely not one of mine. There's a couple. Casino, Steel Magnolias, Soap Dish.
Ah, interesting. Okay. All I haven't seen.
What?
Yeah, no.
You've never seen Casino?
No, I haven't. You've given me a great
Sharon
list.
Stone
no,
and
I've
Robert
never seen
De Niro.
it.
You
I have
thought
not seen
we're
it.
leaving this room right now and going to watch it.
Okay, great.
And Steel Magnolias. Hello.
Okay, I have not.
Dolly Parton.
No, I've not seen it.
Oh, Lord.
Great.
9 to 5, another one.
Okay. I love it. Okay, awesome. Number 4, your favorite dish to cook.
Anything Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Mexican food.
Yeah. I'm a big cook.
You have invited me over for dinner once.
I know.
I couldn't make it. So
I know.
I'm now going
You have
to
to
invite
come.
myself.
Come.
Because Mexican food is literally my favorite food.
Great. We'll do taco night.
Okay, great. And the 5th and final question, which I think I'm going to give you more than one sentence to answer because I think you'll answer it beautifully. One thing we can all do today to make the world a better place. The one thing, the one practice, the one mantra, the one habit that you think the world could adopt on a daily basis to make the world a better place.
What I'm usually saying is look around you. The biggest myth about philanthropy is that you have to be rich and famous to make a difference. Yeah. That is not true. If you look at the biggest organizations in the world, it was started by an angry mom, a frustrated coworker, an injustice that happened to somebody. Like those leaders were inspired to do something bigger because they experienced something. And so I always say, look at your neighbor, see if they have needs, look across the street, look in your community. You don't have to cure AIDS. You don't have to solve global warming. You don't have to sometimes the world's problems feel so big and you go, I'm not gonna make a dent, so I'm gonna drink out of this plastic bottle. It's like, no, why don't you just do that? Stop using plastic bottles. Yeah, don't use plastic straws. Like there's so many tiny, tiny, tiny things that do make a difference. And I think that goes across everything. People feel that way about our democracy. Like my vote doesn't count. There's so many people. And it's like, no, it does. You know, me recycling, one person recycling doesn't count. It does. You know, me meditating for the world, praying for the world. It's not going to matter. It does. Because when you have a collective movement of any sort, it's going to move mountains. And so we do need your individual energy and your individual intention and love towards anything. You don't have to look far and you'll find somebody or something in need.
I love that.
Yeah.
What a beautiful message to end on. Thank you so much.
Thank
Eva,
you.
Thank you
That was
much
so
for
fun.
doing this.
Is it been an
yeah,
hour?
that's it. Yeah, that's it. I hope you had a lot of fun doing it. It was so much fun.
fun.
Everyone who's been watching or listening at home, or whether you're walking your dog or you're cooking or you're at the gym or you're commuting, I want you to, from your heart, literally listen to this podcast again if you have to, but just find that message that stood with you. There are so many lessons that are hidden away beautifully and gracefully in Eva's life. And I really hope that today we've been able to unearth some of those gems, and you're going to find the ones that mean something to you. And you're just going to choose one practice or one habit or one thought and just make one change in your life. That's all you have to do. Just pick one thing and let us know on Instagram which one you're going to pick too, because I want to see what you're unearthing from all of these gems in Eva's life. And Eva, thank you. You're incredible. I'm so excited to continue our friendship.
Me too.
And I'm just so grateful to you, honestly. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so happy. This was so fun.
Yeah, I hope
this
you
is the
enjoyed
best way to get to know somebody quickly.
It is. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everyone go check out Eva across everywhere.
Yeah.
Mainly Instagram, because she says lots of cute stuff.
I do. I have good stories.
Yeah, exactly. So go check her out on Instagram. Go follow her on Instagram for sure. Thank you so much, Eva.
Thank you.